the utility type of jugglers. I mean, the Alpha's still available.
Taking out the X-Log, you do open up more of those tanky junglers.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that's... You can tell that Cambodia has been thinking about that. They're still also respecting the Matilda. We could still default into the trade of assassins, but with Jushin gone, that's also another sign that maybe, just maybe, we might see Fredrin in this game.
Fredrin popping up into the jungle. I'd love to see how that actually works out, right? How does the Fredrin space in the beginning? How does he farm in this current meta? There are big questions around that hero.
You gotta make sure that your opponent's mid and their roam and maybe even their XP are safe for the Fredrin to interact with. So, that being said, with the pick still being hidden for now, I'd say the Fredrin's gonna come out, it'll come out later, but Tegami's not gonna touch that, especially since the Suyo and the Bruno are early pick. As an old Fredrin main, I don't like it when there's a Bruno on the other side. It takes a while for me to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the order of the Bruno pick is, but they utilized it back-to-back against their match against Nepal earlier on. So they're sticking with this.
They did go back-to-back with it earlier.
That's just Aselia getting comfortable.
Yeah, and what I like about Cambodia's draft right now is when they prioritize what they got with matchup, if Ukraine decides to go into something like an Eve to properly support this Bruno, that would struggle. Cambodia's just blocking. They're blocking, and they get a power comp up as well for themselves with the Angeling together.
I've been throwing out this blue side double pick Angeling since the men's playoffs. Now it finally comes through. Does Ukraine have the answer? This is so powerful. These three alone, this will demand sudden movement, sudden even bans from Ukraine.
What is the answer, though?
Hopefully they're not thinking and considering Baksha right now. I would not like the pace of the game and the tempo for themselves if they decide to go into that. They do pick up a pick that I feel like answers a lineup that is very dive initiation reliant. Responsible into it. It won't completely 100% answer it, but you mitigate some of the damage that Cambodia would want to do. I like this Tigreal pick because he dipped out of the meta with the entry of Suyo. Teams have been putting him to the second phase more. But Tigreal dominated the meta as the best roamer in the game for the longest time for a reason. And when it comes to team fighting, he's the best at messing that up for your opponents and making it good for you. I like also that they're targeting the mid laners for the side of Cambodia, but for Ukraine, they're going for the gold lane matchups that they don't want to go up against for that Bruno.
Those are two heroes that do well with Angela in them.
Exactly.
Cambodia should go ahead and ban the Aurora right now. That's another hero in the mid that
your waste already.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So all the more easier. And there's a Fulvius knowing that they couldn't get the Fulvius on the swing back. And it's still open for Ukraine. Does Ukraine go Hilda? Oh, it's banned out now. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Both of these teams just doing their homework, covering their bases.
They thought about it.
Steps ahead.
They thought about it. And the Uranus still does come through despite not seeing a Hilda being picked up here. What do you think the Uranus offers in this composition?
Well, it's going to be annoying to deal with. Right now, you don't have the right damage profile to deal with it unless you're going to force a Lunox in the gold or a carry in the gold lane, which right now I feel like the Bruno might be a little bit happier dealing with. Maybe not the Lunox come level 4 because for sure Cambodia will be committing a rotation so that they get an advantage for Yui Fendi.
I want to double down on the carry. I think the carry's decent.
Against a Bruno though?
You just have to survive that. You can send her with the babysit. I don't think she's beyond that.
Yeah, you have an Angela, a Lega, Gata, Kacha, but that might be too expensive in terms of like the rotations you would need to actually help the carry out.
Assume that the Angela's going to Nabi. Then it's become less expensive. You just lack the damage output to take down the Uranus. But I think it that way.
The Natan pickup is a safer choice if you have to choose between the carry and the Natan.
What is your mid? Just go Valentina? Because there's an Edith on the other side.
That sounds to me.
Yeah.
You're a very good team fighting lineup. The only real standout would be the Uranus, which can just bother the backline.
Would you guys consider Veil Ukraine? Because I wouldn't knock it. I mean, all my brain tells me that hopefully they don't go Eve. The Evil 100% struggle here. The Veil at least has the crowd control and burst.
Amos Val.
Whoa, Lunox,
That's
man.
good Lunox.
Whoa.
It's an Amaterasu special.
Oh, Ukraine. Very aggressive draft.
Saves herself from a puppet on a string.
Yeah.
And she understands that she's laning up against an Angela. So she's going to make the most of the absence of clear damage. She wins that lane. She can bully the Angela.
Yeah. Let's see which pokes will do better, the Gacha Angela or the Edith Angela or the Tigreal Lunox.
I hope Cambodia has reset. I hope they can reset from this. I think solid drafts. There's a clear winning condition for both of the drafts that we are seeing right now from both teams. But for Cambodia, I'm highlighting this especially because this is going to be the third match of the day for them in particular. They need the endurance. Like, on the other side, you can also make an argument that it's enough for them to get heated up. But let's see how it all pans down in the Land of Dawn. Ladies and gentlemen, as we throw into our first game in this best of 3 series between both of these teams. Mirko, Naisu, take it away.
It's our last matchup for the day here. Now, still in the lower bracket of things, we're going to have to find out who moves forward from this. But like our panelists mentioned, they've been playing all day, man. This is what, third game that we've seen also now just here on stream. And then Cambodia's been through it. They went through a reverse sweep just recently. Last match, you missed it. So I would say they've got the momentum here. Their draft is looking good. This is also a classic, you know, the Angeline combination that we're so used to seeing as we jump into the Land of Dawn. Game number 1 here in this best of 3. We'll find out if it's going to be enough. Interesting. What do you see here, Mirko?
Pull yourself together for Kaksa here and Tigreal. It's something that we don't usually see for the Tigreal, right? We see the agility, sure. We usually see tenacity sometimes.
Tenacity,
You have vitality. But pulling yourself together is definitely a more aggressive thing. They did say aggressive, you know, the panel, and are going to be seeing that. A whole lot of aggression from Kaksa. Probably just all in to look for those crazy moments.
I think part of this too is, you know, if I recall, we saw Ukraine play on stream once, and the team has pretty good synergy. I mean, this is why, you know, they went with this draft. The Uranus was up question, but Molly's going to get taunted here. I think, okay, the breakable goes backward. Good thing to have some of that support there. And they've showed us that, yeah, they have quite a bit of synergy. I think even when you talk about the Uranus, you're just there as a bulwark, basically. Like, you are that front line that can really kind of stay up front if you need to. You can go ahead and push some of the waves, proxy them the way you need to. But my ultimate question here for Ukraine, and knowing what we've seen already from Cambodia, is can they deal with that classic combination, having the Heart Guard to play against, and then we know that late game Nathan really comes online, but then you throw in a focusing mark, right? The focusing mark with this Angela is going to help her. A lot of these early skirmishes and fights kind of go in favor of Cambodia if, again, Ukraine is caught off guard. And that's why I also love the fact that they got the Suyo here. Oh, wow, Navi taking a shot. Turtle's going to come up shortly, so Sula will go ahead and get in position. Already knows that Yue is there, so forcing her off. Another shot really on point so far.
Yeah, Sula's been really, really on point. And again, for me personally, I really like this Lunox pick. I'm a big fan of the Lunox pick here, especially considering, you're up against an Angela. Usually the Angela does have a lot of ways to actually just bully out the lane. Wow, free turtle, by the way. This is why the Lunox.
Just like you asked me earlier, Mirko.
Yeah.
Can we get a timer for objectives when a Suyo and a Lunox are in the same game?
We really should at this point, right? Because, man, it's super quick. And that's the reason I like the Lunox too. But on top of the fact that you take neutral objectives super quick if the enemy team is late to respond, is the fact that in lane against an Angela, usually Angela wins out just through sustain. And you have to sustain with your yellow, that yellow form, right? Yep. So just continue to farm up. Oh, Molly here will just get away with the consecration, not even a purify used up, and it's really, really slow. But in the slow games, Ukraine have been able to get good dubs, man, just through scaling.
Scaling's going to be in their favor. I think part of that too, anytime you have a Lunox on the table, that's really what you're going for. And I almost expect Cambodia to go ahead and just play to the tune of Ukraine until later on. If they can't get, some sort of a secured kill because of the fact that they have Angela with them, then they might as well just wait, pushing, some of the side lanes later on. But I don't really expect them to start fights or even these skirmishes. Every single time they do fight, it's probably going to be around the turtle, or later on the Lord, and then build into that. Now, and that's also what makes me worried, because Tagami, you know, we've seen her back in the last match when game number 1, when she kind of struggled a little bit, especially with pacing. You want to be able to get the snowball going. They're going to go in mid lane.
Or Shadow the Flicker with a taunt, and he pulls you to Kakli. Help Amaterasu. Good brilliance coming down, but the Blazes right there. Amaterasu with a flicker around, but now the AOG will knock Sula up. A few with Roy Blades claimed, and Amaterasu will be taken down. Molly still able to survive, but man, crazy mechanics from Tagami.
Well, I was just saying, you know, I didn't expect them to actually throw some fists this early on, but hey, they do it. Maybe that's part of, again, why that momentum they had in the previous series, they're really locked in right now. Worldy to just kind of check things out, but those 2 kills and going over here kind of spread up even, you even got a kill there, that's going to help them now possibly secure this turtle. I expect Ukraine still to go ahead and you know, if they're able to rotate fast enough with Sula, because they know that the Ling Tagami, she needs the purple buff, they'll actually go ahead and it looks like get ready to go toe-to-toe for this. The only problem is Coxa doesn't have the flicker, you know, she can't really surprise them. And Yui Fendi will actually give quick work to this. It looks like Ukraine's just going to have to give this one up. The 1-for-1 for the Turtles right now for both teams. Very slow and steady right now. This is a big item picked up though for Nabi. Nabi does get the Flask of the Oasis. It looks like they might try to make a play here towards Mashi. 3 members are here, and also Tagami just around the corner, but I don't think you can really do much here. There's a hard guard.
Yep, good shove, and the implosion too, but Hardguard actually saves her just for a bit here. Coxa will be taken very low. Revitalize gets popped in, and comes the blades as well. Tagami go with the blades in the back, finding the kill. Coxa very low, taken out as well. It's double to Tagami, looking for Amaterasu, jumps in with the Divine Blade one more time. Amaterasu will probably be slated here again. Tagami very low, will be shut down by Sula. But it's a dive here. Uwe will not go for the flicker. Doesn't even have the flicker at this part of the game, but it's a 3-for-1.
Tagami wanted that triple, man. You know, she
really
saw it. She wanted to take that opportunity to clear it in. And this is why, you know, every time we see this combination come up, that hard guard provides so much to the whole game plan when you have a Ling on the table. You can see she's already got that Berserker's Fury, but both junglers, her and Sula, both are actually relatively even across the board. You have some differences here going in the lanes. Even the gold lane, relatively matched up. You know, just 100 gold difference between the two. Conceal, and another Conceal going to be used in response, but Molly just forcing them off. And this is where we see the focus now. Can they get these tier 1s down? Both teams are slowly working on them because they don't have any just yet. Yui providing a lot of information on this Edith, and you know, it goes back to the question, when is that timing going to happen here for both these lineups? Acelia?
The hard guard again, Divine Blades. Acelia very low. Good implosion to peel off. Uwe is going to be taken very, very low to by Amaterasu. Coxa going to shove over. Tagami still has it with the Blaze, and now Acelia slain under the turret. Amaterasu able to get a trade back, but Tagami is ruthless. It's a double, but now a double as well for Tagami. Molly with the consecration still able to survive. Meanwhile, Sula just looking for a trade in the bottom lane. Will be able to get a turret at least for the 2-for-2, making it actually worth it for Ukraine.
Sula grabbing that turret. You know, it almost makes you wonder, it is going to be a trade though, again. Objective here, Cambodia will get this turtle, but you know, even that last exchange, I was thinking that Celia would be able to survive, but maybe that implosion and then the swoop into the turret put them in range to go ahead and cap out the kill, but still, Ukraine does find some answers.
Yeah.
Mid lane, they're just so tanky, you know, no initiation is going to follow through, but now that Amaterasu here is Sula, they'll go ahead and focus on these buffs. And you know, mind you, all this happening, Acelia.
Probably going to be slain again. Tagami, getting away. Oh, Acelia, great moves away. Tagami, go for the blades again. Under the turret, Acelia still surviving. Oh, good start from Sula. Coming from an off angle. Coxa earlier, able to get the implosion and the shove back so that Moshi gets caught under that turret. Wow, but it becomes a 1-for-0.
What an escape. I was almost expecting Acelia would just kind of go down. Good thing that she still had that flicker available. Maratu holding down the line up here on the top side. She'll be able to keep it together. So Ukraine, and you know, before that fight broke out, I was saying, yeah, you might see quite a few kills here for Cambodia, but Ukraine has been doing really good in terms of farming across the map where they can. So that even though they might be losing a kill here or there, relatively, the economy is still in their favor. You know, they can still scale up really well. Time in this case is what they have to with the Bruno, even and the Lunox. They'll scale up really well into the mid game, and that's where we are now. This Lord is coming up. I actually think they would be in a good position to win a team fight here. And seeing how they manage these waves pushing in, or the turrets, even these tier 1s. Oh, hold on.
Or Sharon, the playground now with a hard guard too. That's an AOG to catch Acelia. No quicker, a good taunt over. But Sula was able to blink just in time to escape. Cambodia playing up top now. Finch poise over from Tagami. He has to be careful. There is no hard guard available for her. Coxa tries to read that movement. Let's go for the shove. Now it's Moshi walking up. Yui Fendi just re-hitting with Entropy, and Coxa will be taking a half HP. With the Entropy, Molly picks up the Radiant Armor, and you can see even with the Radiant Armor, Yui Fendi is just melting through that HP bar.
I'm surprised, man, because Radiant Armor or not, Uranus or not, you know, even with a Consecration, like, you're just going to be burned to use it. And this is quick work of the Lord happening here. I'm not sure if Ukraine can really do much about this, except for watching it taken. Somali, Coxa, they'll back off. And they got to get ready here. Sula has been doing a good job, you know. If she can't find something to contest, like head-to-head, she'll go and push one of the lanes, get what she can. But now we have to think, you know, defensively, is Ukraine cut out to get through this? You know, the First Lord, I think they've got an okay lineup to get through that. Looking at the items, you know, they're tanky enough. Some of the damage obviously coming into place. You only have the Glowing Wand and the Divine Glaive now for Amaterasu, so she's where she needs to be. But Acelia, she's got Berserker's Fury, House Claws, and she needs to be able to use that Flicker defensively like we've seen her in the past, because this First Lord, you know, it's not going to be doing too much to the base. You might get the tier 2s down unless they force a fight. We've seen Cambodia do this multiple times now. And this whole time, Yui Fendi's just been able to farm up, do her thing. Now they focus on the tier 2. Bottom and top pushed in. Lord finally goes down, so as I expected, as I was thinking, that Lord's going to be taken care of really quickly. And right now, Ukraine doing okay.
Great clear. They still have very, very good clear with Lunox, with Suyo even, helping just poking them down. And obviously, Acelia on the Bruno, even though she's 0-3 and 0 right now. Yeah, you get all the stacks in, you should be able to clear out the minions really, really well. But if you're just playing the wait, Tagami jumping on top of Tarasu is going to be able to use the Chaos and the Flicker with the Brilliance too. A bit too early, Tagami going in, now with Pinch poised to escape. Absolute class as Molly just gets obliterated by Yui Fendi on the Natana as she picks up a Holy Crystal.
Not gonna lie, man, that was smooth from Tagami. Able to just go from that angle with a heart guard and then get enough attention, and then they go and get 2 kills out of it. This is what should have been just a cleared Lord, you know, and then you hold on to maybe even that tier 2 turret in the mid lane, but because of that decision from Tagami and Navi, they were able to get more. You know, the Lord went down so early, but at least for now, Ukraine, they do hold on to the Holy Shields. They still got that. And so when you're looking at it, once again, the gold lead building up a little bit for Cambodia. They might have to really rely on contesting this next Lord here in less than a minute. But Ukraine right now just trying to stay together. You know, they don't want to get caught out. This is the problem when you deal with a Ling and an Angela. You never know. You know, it's almost as bad as when you have a Luoyi on the table. Like, they're just going to diversion in. But with a Ling, even if you try to catch them, you have to throw so much, you know, to be able to catch the Ling here. And right now, I just feel like that's one of the weak points of Ukraine's lineup. Trying to catch the Ling, trying to follow a Ling with a hard guard is already hard enough. And it kind of just puts you in a very susceptible position to get collapsed down and forced to fight.
Now it's about to set up Sula. They're trying to match the Ling movement, but when you do this in the late game, it's a very big disadvantage for your team if you don't have like a Fanny or someone else, like a Nolan even, right? Someone that can actually match the maneuverability, the mobility of Tagami. Purple bump taken. The Tundra and Ling maybe, you know, similar speeds to taking a Lord right now. You can see it just blitz down. Acelia will be able to walk up. Molly as well. Tagami wins it out. Coxa goes over the Emoji, but it will not be enough to take them down. And the Wave will still be able to get used up. And Sula gets demolished by this Ling. Tagami will continue this onslaught of damage as Acelia will not be able to get through even the FOTO shielding.
A little bit too much to handle here for Ukraine. The top turret's going to be worked on. Amatsu goes in.
A desperate attempt to try to save the game, but man, Tagami is godlike, and they'll secure game number 1 with the momentum after getting the reverse sweep earlier. Naisu, Cambodia is online.
Man, they've been online, you know, throughout the day. They've felt defeat maybe once or twice here in terms of games, but momentum completely in their favor, and they showed it here in game 1 of this best of 3. Really? I mean, they might have took it a little bit of time, but as soon as they had the hard card available, that's really the timing when they just started to find, little spacing around the map, little moments where they can actually go ahead and contest some of those skirmishes, some of those fights, and then the objectives. And again, I like the draft that we saw here come through from Ukraine. I just feel like, and I think our panelists mentioned this, is certain things were lacking from that game plan to deal with a Ling and an Angela, to deal with the fact that, even with the Uranus, like, we know that hero is tanky. You know that part of that is to just go ahead and maybe stay in the lane, make it a dead lane, be that front line for you. And even with a Tigreal, like, it just wasn't enough, I feel like, to deal with how much pacing was set up. And, unfortunately, too, because the Bruno, as great as a turret destroyer as Bruno can be, I just feel like there was no room to actually go ahead and utilize this Bruno within the whole, scenario of game one. So
The Bruno
very
was tough. Definitely tough in the matchup against Natan.
100%, and I know our panelists are going to have more to say about this for game number one. Let's go ahead and pick their brains. Guys, what do you think about game one?
Thanks, Naisu. Thank you, Mirko. We're back on the panel here with me, Eterna, alongside with Renmar, as well as Leo. Now, game number one in this best of three is now held in by Cambodia. And I don't know, what do you guys think about this match?
Bruno was way too early. I'll start with that, but then let you go a little bit deeper.
All right. The Bruno to me was A-okay, especially since they could have drafted around it. To me, the real mortal sins came in the second half of the draft. After the 1-1 in Harith ban, which was a clear read by Team Ukraine. You don't want the Angela jumping into either of those because it allows for the Harith to just keep dancing. Or the 1-1 to take flight. Even when she's at the brink of death, the hard guard does provide a shield. They picked the Uranus. That's the biggest question mark to me. It was mentioned by Joseph right before they threw back to us. It was supposed to do something on the map. And when you watch that game, it wasn't even doing that. Very vocally, while we were watching off stream, we were saying, hey, Molly should stick to the bottom lane. Molly should stick to the top lane. She should keep pushing the map, at least win something for Team Ukraine. But she was, I don't know, uncharacteristically wanting to join certain fights.
Yeah.
So already, a wrong pick, in my opinion, played the wrong way.
Yeah, when you have the Uranus with you, it's an acceptance of I have one mission, far lane. I don't need to join team fights, but then again, that's one of the problems with that pick. The only thing that they have outside of that, outside the Uranus, is the Tigreal in terms of a front line, in terms of a catch. If you look at the 4 members of Ukraine that will most likely be left alone together, there's a lot of lack of crowd control there. Yes, you have the Implosion, you have the Sacred Hammer, but then after that, what's next? You may have the charge first of the Suyo.
Charge Queller. No, that's Charge Surge.
Charge Surge, yes. Hold 1. Then compare that to the long team fight prowess of Angeling, Edith, and Nathan together. It's gonna struggle. You really saw in this draft how Cambodia respected everything Ukraine has done so far in the tournament. We've set up how they like both types of junglers, whether it's tanky, whether it's assassin. They covered their bases. They allowed Tegami to play a game where she's present all throughout. It was just Cambodia looked way more prepared in that game number 1.
And more so, they really just built onto their strengths.
Yeah.
Right, and this was something that we saw that other teams against Cambodia actually respected. There were moments where we saw an Angela ban in the second phase, but Ukraine completely let that just go.
This is the purest Angela lineup one could make. Literally everyone from lane to lane could be the recipient of a Hearthguard and make the most of it. I think I saw, Yui, even the Yui on the Edith as the roamer got a couple of kills, even on some key members of Team Ukraine because of their prowess with the Angela lineup. So I think, already talking about best practices going into game 2 to force a game 3 possibly, ban out the Angela.
I agree, ban out the Angela, because I think if we want to go on respect towards Tegami, it's a lot more difficult than we would imagine, right? She has the Fanny, the Hayabusa, she has the Ling now,
Yeah.
she can play the Suyo, she can play the Alphas. What else can she play? Nolan?
Lancelot,
Lancelot?
Wide hero pool.
Julian.
Yeah, so I agree with that sentiment. Wherein if you want to target Tagami, don't target Tagami specifically. Target the players around her. And to be fair, Ukraine went with that relative idea because they took away the comfort pick of Cambodia that Nabi has been shining with all throughout this tournament, the Aurora. Knowing the playstyle of Ukraine, they still respected the Jushin and they took away the Hayabusa. I feel like at the same time, though, with the way that Ukraine didn't respect the Angela Ling combo together, or the presence of an Angela, is that they didn't build well for it. In the roam to mid, we did see the interaction that you pointed out. The Tigreal and the Lunox early on was having a better time laning, but the laning phase ended so quick. Once it was level 4, it was Tagami time. It was hard guard time.
Not even 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
They literally, as soon as the hard guard went up, Tagami said, "It's go time, home or Mao, let's get this done." And that's why we ended under 15 minutes. Something to note for game number 2. I want Team Ukraine to, this is very weird, all right? Usually when we go into game 2 drafts or we talk about tips on how to improve your draft, we usually say don't be too reactive, don't be passive, don't wait for your opponents to do something. I'll say here, to correct what happened in game 1, watch out for what your opponent does. Watch what Team Cambodia does and adjust. Because I think that's the main problem. Like, macro-wise, big picture, Team Ukraine, they did not at all acknowledge what Cambodia was doing. There was very little interaction. Again, we talked about how the Bruno in the draft would win against a carry, or most anything it lanes against, right?
Yeah.
The Nate didn't really have that problem because of how fast they went online, because of how fast Nabi got the hard guard. Also, that Uranus, usually when you're red side, that red 4 swing, that's usually a power pick right there. That usually dictates how the rest of the draft unfolds. That did not do anything to help Team Ukraine. So that's my pro tip here, my suggestion. Learn to react and answer your opponent's draft here.
Yeah. I feel like if Ukraine wanted to do what they did like around Mali, if they wanted someone who is annoying with split pushing a lane, someone who could quickly join in the team fight, they've already showed it before. Why didn't they just pick Benedetta? It's not going to solve all of your problems, but it would have played better into the playstyle that Mali and Ukraine was going for around the EXP laner. Because, the Uranus didn't get to do what it did. But if, let's say, we changed that hero, instead of Uranus, it was Benedetta, it would make a little bit more sense. The times where she would manage wave and then decide to go to another part of the map to help out, you can do that much faster, react much faster as a Benedetta.
And she'd also have a lot more presence in the team fights when she does join, right?
Yes.
Supposedly she'd go Petrify. So that's another layer that they would actually have utilized in these particular team fights if they went in for the Benedetta.
Yeah, Yui Fendi would have had to think twice about it. Even, let's say, best case scenario, you find Nabi before she pops the hard guard. That's already a huge minus to Team Cambodia's lineup. So I agree. Again, that pocket Benedetta that she's shown on Mali, that's definitely something they should consider game 2.
I like that. I don't know. What do you guys think about this, right? Because technically, Ukraine drafted in a way where they should have had the winning gold lane matchup. Was it not? I mean, we saw that the Natan was struggling earlier on against the damage coming from Bruno. We saw the trades. We saw the forced errors.
Yeah.
Could they have worked around it better? Or was it just an inevitable thing because of the Ling and the Angela being able to rotate so fast around the map?
That is definitely one of the factors. One thing I like though that Yui Fendi did in lane is once they hit level 4, every time she had entropy available for her, actually if you look back into the map, that's one of the reasons why the gold lane of Ukraine struggled, why this Bruno struggled. Acelia, every time Acelia was like, alright, time to duel it out. Why do you use your ult? That's not fair. Fine, I'll go back under tower. Wait, there's a Gacha jumping in, there's the Ling, there's the Angela. There it is.
That's what you call in the business a technical knockout.
Yeah.
You didn't die immediately, but your utility and your presence was nullified. So you might as well have just recalled, got knocked out, and then re-engaged. Great use of presence, great use of the whole kit. Team Cambodia, I wholeheartedly agree. They nullified that gold lane advantage, and there wasn't even a chance for Team Ukraine to actually bear down on Yui Fendi. Yep. There was always a response.
And this makes this team one of the scariest teams here in the tournament, right? Just when you think that we've hit the threshold when it comes down to the amount of strategies, they pull out something like an Angel Ling. I mean, we saw the YSS earlier on. What else do they have in their kit? What else do they have in their arsenal?
You could even say that the Angela and YSS could work. Oh yeah, I'm not against that. So I think the key really is just to bend the actually.
No, let's see. So they'd rather give the Jushin if that's the case. Just leave it open. I mean, it's not always going to be a sure thing that Cambodia's going to take it on the blue side. However, there is a high chance that Ukraine's going to be picking red going into the blue side going into the second game. If they decide to stay red side here, then it might be a change of one ban, a change of one priority pick, and then just do like what the Cambodia did in their previous series up against Saudi Arabia, which was just build up on the draft ideas that you already had and refine it.
Yeah, for those of y'all who are wondering, Renmar was indeed pointing at the Bruno while he was saying one change of a priority pick. So I agree with you, man. I'll tell you right now, if Ukraine wants to go to Game 3, I'd say they hide Acelia's pick, keep it in the second phase.
Yeah.
We'll see if they do that as we get into the drafts, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2.
They're red again!
Yeah, this time Ukraine still not opting to go for blue side, still on red side, and the bans are coming through. One thing that does change, though, is this Gatot from Ukraine.
Yeah. Different from their bans. Again, their bans in game number 1 were the Hayabusa Aurora Jushin. Now they decided, all right, maybe we're willing to consider giving the Angelo again, but we do not like the presence of the Gatot Gacha just jumping around the map.
That's how bad it was? Moshi's Gatot?
Earlier.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Oh, that's like double respect. At this point, I feel like you can stop there in terms of the respect bans. That's already solid, because you have a lot of trades that's going to happen.
All right, there really is only 2 approaches here. It's either you tech it or respect it. You tech it meaning you answer it clearly in the map, pick for pick, or you just respect ban it, which they did here twice. So that's how shocking and how rocking that game 1 was for Team Ukraine. That leaves out so many picks for Cambodia, though.
It's a wide pool here. I mean, one of the drafting strategies that teams often discuss is just leaving open a lot of the power picks and just playing around that in terms of the trade. So it's Cambodia this time that bans the Jushin. I feel like for Cambodia, with the heroes that we're seeing, Harith Blue 2, Blue 3 might actually be viable for them if they want to build around their advantage in the gold lane. So that might be a consideration of a ban for Ukraine, but then at the same time, we can still default again with the Alpha Suyos of the world. And if not that, maybe, there we go, an assassin for Tegami, so they still respect the Hayabusa.
Yeah, still not gonna allow that to seep through the cracks, it appears. But this time, Cambodia, if they want, they have the Aurora in consideration, right? It's not banned out, it's open. But for the first phase, we have, what do we have? Phobius Hilda, Alpha Suyo,
Yeah, I think Cambodia...
Chip even?
I don't want to see the chip anymore. unless maybe Cambodia plays a very different chip.
Cambodia just beat a chip lineup and they know what makes one weak. So I would reckon, they would respect that and build around it if this was a first pick chip.
Yeah, that's true. One of the reasons why, so they decide to lock in the focus. They know they're up against a proficient Lunox player in Amaterasu. And Amaterasu was one of the bright sparks of the Ukraine lineup, although she was punished for a little bit, for a few moments of over-eagerness. But that's something that you can just change, like just slight adjustment. So this time, though, they're not going to see that. They decide to pick into the Aurora that Phobius from time to time doesn't like to go up against. They can go Aurora Suyo or Aurora Alpha, no matter what. Or they might even go Aurora Hylos, similar to what Cambodia does on the red side. Cambodia can still very much pick Eve right now, knowing that the Gatot Kacha has no presence. Eve is a good pick for Cambodia later on. There it is!
Benedetta, that's an early Benedetta, though. That could have been saved for later on.
Yeah, I see Cambodia actually banning out the Vendetta come the second phase, but Ukraine not wasting any time. I feel like in that same spot, Renmar, in that same spot, Rachel, I'm pretty sure that could have been that's the prior pick switch. Personally now, I'm in your shoes, bro. I feel like that's too early. Now Cambodia can adjust.
And that they did. Now, what could have been a Eve pickup and then responded to by a Benedetta became a Vexana pickup. Now the Benedetta will have to think twice and really sharpen up the entries, and the Nolan in the hands of Tegami.
What about that matchup, though? Phobius and the Benedetta in the EXP lane.
You're just there to clear waves, then get out.
For the Benedetta.
For the Benedetta, yeah.
Okay.
Don't want to lose. Yeah.
Lose that trade.
You're kind of happy. Even though I've experienced this. If that's packing Vengeance, and you get a full-on Electro Final blow onto him, that Phobius will survive and then continue to punish you afterwards.
Oh, that's tough. we're working around lanes that aren't necessarily in favor of Ukraine as we get into the second phase of the drafts. The Irithel will, iron things out for the first phase. Very early Irithel as well. What's the idea behind that?
Mobility not that easy to catch for the Nolan. Still catchable, but I think it's mostly just that. It's mobility, and then maybe it's also confidence coming in from Basilia. Not a lot of difficult matchups for an Irithel.
Yeah, and I think since they were so confident with the early Benedetta, they expect that the gold lane might be less pressured. So that means Acelia gets to hit her power spike sooner. Get that gold lane experience.
Are they considering a tank fighter in the jungle? Shouldn't be. They kind of have to go assassin. I mean, Suyo's still open.
Oh, they banned the 1-1.
Does Cambodia ban the Suyo? Because yeah, you're right. The gold lane picks for Cambodia shrinking. Oh, the jungle picks for Ukraine shrinking. They want the Suyo. They got me saying, Coach, let me fight the Suyo.
Oh man, they called it. The moment that 1-1 came up, I was like, yeah, that looks like they're really setting up for Frederick. Cambodia said, nope. Good read by Cambodia.
That's what I was wondering, right? Why the 1-1 ban? It turns out that was the idea. Because it should have been a good lane for the Irithel if they wanted to play around their gold lane like they wanted to in game number 1. The Tigreal comes through once again for Ukraine.
Huh. What if this is another surprise by Ukraine and this Benedetta might actually swing into the jungle?
Oh.
And then they pick up another lane holder in the EXP.
I don't think that against Sula. She could do that.
Yeah.
Wondering though what's in the gold. What's gonna try and stop Acelia from having such a comfortable time?
I think Harith is still viable right now.
It's open.
At the same time, you get to avoid the Electro final blow. The singular dash of the Matrix not that good. They can default and go Moskov.
Is Yui Edith again?
I would have gone it, yeah. Not a bad pick. Surprised that they suddenly go Akai or something. Oh, there. Edith Moskov. Call the Edith. Got the Moskov. Yeah. Comfort pick there for Yui.
So now lays the big question for Ukraine. Is this Benedetta going to the EXP lane? Are we going to be seeing a different pick in for the jungle matchup for Ukraine?
This is a time wherein I would say don't Bane, Sula. Don't Bane.
Yeah. Might be a toughie if they decide to go Bane here.
I played a mini game where there's a Edith, a Phoveus, and a Nolan on the other side.
Not fun?
Not fun.
It's Bane?
I mean, from one Bane main to another, I support you, but I also wish you well. It's gonna be tough. She has the front line though. She has the Tigreal and the Aurora as a stopper.
Yeah.
But that's wishful thinking. I'm being optimistic.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say this now. This is a Kaxapak Mali Amaterasu game. It's up to the requirement of the old meta. It's your roam, it's your XP, it's your mid. Up to you guys to carry your team.
What about in the objective battles with the Bane? I mean, he does have the deadly catch. Would it work against the Nolan?
All right, that's the one reason why maybe Sula got the green light. Why Team Ukraine was so okay with the Bane coming through, despite how in team fights it's going to be very difficult, very tough for her. Very few heroes actually come close to a Bane when the Bane has their eyes on an objective, especially when it's like a big team fight kind of objective taking. So with that said, as long as Ukraine stay on top and Ukraine are in the driver's seat, should be fine.
All right. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, match point. Will Cambodia be able to win this 2-0 clean, or can Ukraine force a game number 3? Because we're going to head over to our casters now. Boys, what do you guys think?
Well, you know what? As someone who loved a hero that didn't have a place in the meta for a while, Bane's back. I know Leo was like, not Bane, not Bane, not Bane. This is not the time to pick Bane. Boom, it comes out. I think
Bane in time.
It's Bane in time. I think I like it, Mirko. What do you think?
I don't know. I personally like it. It's a very safe pick, firstly. But I mean, up against this composition too, whenever Nolan wants to go in, whenever they actually want to get close range, get that Crab Claw Cannon in, get that Deadly Catch in as well. Great disengage tools for the Bane to take control of the skirmishes. So I guess we'll just have to see. Nice. So if the Bane can work, or just like Leo said, if this composition will be the bane of Bane's existence.
Well, We'll see if it's going to be the bane of their existence right now. But I'll tell you what, man, we've got a game on our hand. We've got the last game.
Do we now?
Possibly the last game in this best of 3, unless maybe that bane is part of the equation to bring it to a game 3. I'd love for it to be a game 3, of course.
Yep.
You know, going into this because we know what's at stake here. We know that, you know, all these ladies, they've been through the ringer. You know, they had 2 days of group stage. Now they're here in the playoffs. Now we're jumping into the Land of Dawn here to see if we get to a game 3. Again, match point right now for Cambodia. They've played on stage multiple times today, and we'll see if they can maintain this momentum that they've got in their favor. Looking at the emblems real quick, too. I like to see it. You know, you're going for that lethal ignition. You got the assassin emblem for Sula. And so, yeah, I think this is just a big green light where, yeah, at the same time, you're going to have to rely on those frigid glaciers to lock down the members and the implosions from Coxa again on that Tigreal.
Okay, so we'll see this here. When it comes to emblems, it's actually the lethal ignition for Bane. So, I don't know if Leo thinks this is the thing right now. This is the way right now, because I personally have not ever gone for the lethal ignition Bane. So this maybe is going to be a full damage Bane, not the hybrid Bane that we are used to seeing. The like fire Bane, what, like BOD Hunter Strike? Maybe. Or actually BOD Hunter Strike. It's like my rank game Banes as well, you know? Every time we get a kill, just boom, bang, bada bing type of situation. And also, it's Molly with a lethal ignition. Yeah. So it's not the concussive blast revitalize that we've been talking about, that we've been seeing a whole lot of.
This is like the old
Scenario, yeah, old.
Benedetta, right? Like
old,
the first
old Benedetta. Let me put that right there.
You're more of a fan of her doing what she wants. Talk about damage. That was lethal.
That's lethal.
First blood in the hands of Sula. So maybe again, you know, this is all part of the plan. Even that flicker was burned for Moshi, so great usage. It had to be also with the Petrify. Molly used that to go ahead and secure Ukraine that first blood. So off to a good start. And you know, that's a whole lot of gold actually going to the hands of Molly. Look at this, working through that gold, the extra gold plating, and Moshi will get in a position where she's got to be a little bit safer, I guess, because you can see the attention still up there on the top side. Amaterasu also there. They want to get these level 4s available for this first turtle fight, but I think this is just it. Well, with Celia too. So a little bit of an exchange, and it looks like they're just going to trade. A kill, objective, everything else going in favor right now, but for Ukraine, the pull a little bit ahead.
Yeah, it does look like Yui Fendi will be able to get a lot of shots down into that turret, though. So, very, very good for Yui Fendi, too. In terms of gold, you can see that it's actually Cambodia leading despite the turtle going to the hands of Ukraine. It's an XP versus turtle kind of game. Moshi in the mid lane, rotating as well. Just relieving a bit of pressure from Navi in the mid lane. And I don't know, right now it just definitely looks kind of slow. Doesn't really look like both of these teams want to go for skirmishes when there's no neutral objective. But I like what Cambodia's doing. I like the fact that, you know, they respect the Bane power. They respect the kill up top. They go straight into the bottom lane to look for trades instead of doubling down into that first turtle.
You know, I almost think when I look at this and think about the future of fights that are going to break out, there's a lot of these like 1v1s happening. Across the map right now. Sola's there. She is at level 4. She's falling behind though, man, of Molly. So Moshi's going to go ahead and just farm this up, do what she can. And that's the thing. I just think if you go face-to-face, at face value, Ukraine, they should have a better team fighting composition, you know, especially around the objectives later on. And I think that's why we see Cambodia kind of looking for those opportunities to get a kill with. And it looks like they get met here. Deadliest Catch used, forcing Tagami off the initiation that they might have looked for. But right now, like you said, very slow start, very slow things happening. And it's one of those compositions, and why I say it's all team comp for Ukraine is they do the best if it's around the objectives. It's one of those instances where you don't have to fight if you don't want to. You're going to see a lot of focus gold lane or, you know, even the XP lane earlier on. But ultimately, both teams want to just go and duke it out around these turtles and just take their time with it.
It's all about the slow macro game for Ukraine, slowing down the tempo of Cambodia, who, like you mentioned, been able to capitalize on a lot of the aggressive fights, super fast-paced tempo games. But I think right now they should be quite comfortable too playing it slow. They have a Moskov that'll be scaling as well. They'll have ways to actually deal with it. And this time it's actually the opposite, right? So Ukraine are in the bottom lane. That's good read. That's Rasu. That gets spread out. Molly is waiting here for a possible steal. Angle will get knocked up, forced to dash away. In the bottom lane, going to be shoved in. Turtle claimed as well. Eye for an eye used. And now we see some reinforcements in the bottom lane. A shove in from Kaksa. It will be cleared. Oh, good flicker out from Navi. Away from the implosion just in time.
See, again, it seems like it's just going to be one of those games where you trade, right?
But look at the goal lead.
Yeah, you get the information though that they're gathering down here. Ukraine wanted to make a play down at bottom against Unifeni, but it doesn't happen. So they go and convert this turtle, and eventually, like I said, it'll ultimately have to be forced situation where we got to fight for the Lord later on. Molly picking up the Sea Halberd, she's got that available. Wow, good push.
Yeah.
After all that time that Unifeni was dealing with multiple members, staring her down, she's able to go and grab that first turn of the game. So Ukraine, you're wondering, right? Because, yeah, you're pouring up the gold lead here. You're wondering if they can't get a pick-off they're looking for. They can't lose this macro game too much because they start to fall behind. And although it is just 2,000 gold at this point, you continue to play like this, and Yui Fendi goes and rotates, especially up top, and she can just join the fight with the Spirit of Destruction later on. That's gonna be a lot of trouble for Ukraine. So they got to make this work right now, and right now it doesn't seem like they're really taking that opportunity to go and look for something. It's more so just farm up, do what we need to do.
They're definitely getting all macroed right now. Ukraine haven't been able to really match that side lane pressure, and it's really interesting to see that Bane, competition with the Aurora, Tigreal, and also the Bane, has opted to go to the bottom lane to trade instead of contest for the second turtle, especially considering they got first turtle, right? So now they're finally playing into the turtle again. That's why Cambodia are actually posturing towards the bottom side. So I think it'll be actually worth it if they trade up a tier 1 in the mid lane or a tier 2 down bot for this third turtle. We've seen that the first turtle was already kind of neutralized that gold lead just from a few shots at the turret gold down below in the mid lane. It's just Implosion flicker from Kaksa into the capsule, fracture from Tegami, finding the back there, and then they catch to try to save them, and it will get Yue down, but Acelia was the one taken down. It's a gold lane for a roll right now as motion jumps for the pursuit. Kaksa very low, Ivor coming out with Eternal Guard as well. Tegami to be frozen down, but still is able to dash away as Yui Fendi, all in that time, was able to get the turret down below.
Talk about the targeting from Tegami, right on the mark. Finding Acelia on the backside, very close to the turtle, she will be able to secure it. But still, right mark, your right target. But not only that, they force a fight, like I was saying, from Ukraine, and they are going to want to fight. But then this whole time, Cambodia has always been very proactive. If they see a fight happening, and Yui Fendi, she did throw the spear, but when it didn't land, and she knew that, all right, my team's all right, I'll go ahead and take the tier 2 turret, and now she is demolishing tier 1 up top. So Cambodia, this is what we're talking about when we say the macro that they're doing here against Ukraine, it's heavily in their favor, and so Ukraine is constantly trying to catch up. On this side, Eternal Guard's not going to land looking for Kaksa here, so they'll just try to hold down the mid lane for now. Ukraine, even despite this difference in gold, they can actually still convert kills if they're able to find a favorable setup, but right now it's just kind of holding and hunkering down and trying to get things to set up. They can even hold these turrets. Seal going to be used though on the backside.
Over the Earth Shatter, the Deadly Catcher plays her now. Here comes the Glacier, unable to get the primal wrap down. Moshi dashing forward to Acelia, a tier 1 traded for the Edith.
Again, Cambodia playing that macro game. They just get the turret, they get out of there. Yui, she tries to set something up, and honestly, at this point, it's okay. Even if she goes down the exchange, it's actually just an attempt to go ahead and force a turret down or force an interaction from Ukraine, because right now, Ukraine's being a little bit passive. They're going to just kind of wait for the power spikes, wait for that advantage on their team fighting. If they can get there, Kaksa can use the implosion.
Best target they can find. Kaksa getting the implosion onto Tegami. Down in the midst of it all, it's going to be the SOD connected. Yui Fendi, she gets some damage right now, going for the spear, and the Spear of Misery pins on Amaterasu down. A Purify out for the Frigid Glacier. That's the passive down for Amaterasu from the back line. It's Acelia taken down by Moshi as she continues to go for the Infernal Pursuit. It's Kaksa running away with the Glowing Wand taking her down. In the bottom lane, it'll be a trade at least. It's a tier 1, but still, 2 members of Ukraine have fallen, and even without their jungler, Cambodia will still be going onto the Lord.
Yeah, they're going to start it up. Yue even using that primal form to just help take it down a little bit faster. But can Ukraine actually stall this out? Sula's just around the corner. They might contest this.
Sula's walking up. Kaksa coming in with a shove as well. Sula deadly catching down the red tree. Will be Yui who takes it away. Yui Fendi will just get through everyone. SOD into the bottom lane. Does it land? It does on the Molly. And now the TP all the way down. Yui Fendi.
She's locked in. What a shot. I mean, good placement with the Spear Destruction. Shows up for the fight. And that got a little dicey because I was even thinking, Sula would have been able to go in there, jump in there, contest that Lord. But like you mentioned, man, it was secured by Yui. And now with this momentum in their favor, they'll go ahead and start to march in the base. And they've done already quite a bit of work across the map, getting some of the tier 2s down. Now the focus mid lane. Ukraine's going to have to defend this one. They've got the ultimates available, but might be waiting for that implosion to come up from Kaksa. They'll clear out the lanes the best they can. But right now, Cambodia heavily in their favor. Yui Fendi has been on point on the Mozkov so far, and I know our panel talked about, this Mozkov hasn't been working out too well throughout the entirety of the tournament, but right now, Yui Fendi is locked in and making things work. She picks up the Malefic Gun, and Molly. Oh.
Man, the Eye for an Eye will save her for a bit, but the minions will be the one to do the job. SOD to the bottom lane will not be able to land, so at least Ukraine can breathe a breath of fresh air there. Up top, though, Holy Defense already baited out. Sula with Conceal together with Kaksa. They won't be able to get any real initiation there. No flicker for Kaksa.
They keep it together, they keep their base turrets, but the shields do go down. Molly goes down, but she at least kind of stalls things out a little bit. They cleared out the waves, they cleared out the Lord. They're going to be fine. Ultimately, Ukraine bought themselves more time in the game because with that momentum that Cambodia had, if they wanted to force a fight and then Ukraine oversteps a little bit, they possibly could have ended the game there, ended the series. But Cambodia, take a look at the items, how they have too. The jungle is the biggest difference here that I'm seeing. Really in the itemization. Oh, Molly.
Very low, good flickering potion, but that is the Purify with the Spirit of Misery, the Vinner down, the Celia in the back still running away. They got some damage, and Deadly Cap will connect, but the SOD will too! Yui Fendi just into the back. Kaksa will just be speared down as Moshi Zones 4 members away from the rest of the team.
They don't have any waves pushing in, so even with that kill, Ukraine, again, still going to be okay. 40 seconds away from that Lord. Yeah, that fracture is not going to land. So that's the one thing I wanted to point out, though. When we got to look at the items, as we get a look at the that good old mode. The thing here is just the amount of burst that Tagami can do, and Tagami's not even popping the damage charts because she's just so calculated on who she goes for, and it's usually resulting in such a big, it's either a kill or it's to the point where then Yui Fendi can just go ahead and clean up, or Nabi even, as you saw, top in the damage charts. Yui Fendi at this point on the Mozkov, you got to be able to shut her down some way, somehow. That Purify, maybe you're able to get it out, maybe you can't. But even when you try to catch her, man, she's been doing really good on the positioning, and it seems very difficult here for Ukraine to find a window. Now that Lord, second one, secured. Spear, not going to land also. Could have possibly ended up on top for Asilia, but right now they'll just get ready for this march in the base. This is the one where Ukraine gotta kind of dig down, get ready, and brace themselves for this push in from Cambodia.
All right, so the way that they're going to be tackling the siege will be shoving out the mid lane, waiting for a slow push up top. So it's going to be a built-up wave with the Enhanced Lord and even the bottom lane. I like this approach, actually, to try to get all of the base turrets, knowing that Ukraine still have ways to fight and defend. There's the next mini wave. Let's see what Cambodia do.
So Ukraine, again, Kaksa leading it. She does have a flicker available. She might just try to hold them together. Like the final blow is already used. Tagami using that retribution. Lord's going to charge on in. Ukraine, though, how do they defend this one? Spear lands. Molly will clear the mid. They might not force the fight just yet. The turn's going to be worked on.
Yui with her Shadow Flicker, catching Asilia now. Bridging Glacier, only catching one as Yui is still in the midst of it all. Catching the damage. Yui Fendi, the Spirit down again. Everybody very low. Piercing damage gets through them. It's a double for Yui Fendi. Now with a Mistwalker again. Molly petrified, but it's a triple for Yui Fendi as Cambodia will move forward and knock Ukraine out of WEC 24 Riyadh IESF MLBB Women's.
Talk about a story of endurance and perseverance here, because Cambodia, man, what they have been through just today alone, You know, they looked defeated earlier on when they had their taste of defeat just in game 1 in the previous series, but they adjusted. I feel like really the staff behind them, right, the coaching staff and everyone really supporting these ladies here helped them kind of lock in and get to the point where they needed to be because they went through that reverse sweep last match. They come in here swinging, they get a sweep themselves against Ukraine, and Ukraine, they've done great things over from the group stage to where they are now too, but Cambodia has just shown us they're a contender.
Be able to find success on both sides. So we'll see whether or not this side favors them against this team, this current Cambodia right now. We do see the Matilda being banned out. The Alpha goes out the window as well. Chip, last time around we saw Indonesia actually respect away the Angela from Cambodia, and we also saw a Cho from Cambodia. But at this point, I think the Suyo also needs to be considered here.
That's one of the things that's so difficult to draft when it comes to drafting against Indonesia. Like, what's in the mind of Coach Cassius? What's he thinking about? What are they going to give? What are they going to contest? Are they going to be surprised? First race Edith ban? Something like that?
No. I have half a mind to think that they might even give the Edith to Fumi Echo in the first phase, like round 1 and 2.
Yeah. As they should. Again, Fumi Echo shines in picks that allows her to be proactive. But then again, even in the game where we saw where she was just packing a high loss Revitalize that was mostly just there standing, healing, card controlling, but from a very passive state, they were still very much okay with it. So for Cambodia, I think just make sure that you're contesting away the top gold laners of Shell. They might actually go into slightly experiment mode and then surprise first phase.